Here's my unpopular opinion. Some parents are ruining youth sports. Burnout, sideline yelling, kids quitting. Did I get your attention? Welcome back to the Maxed Out Podcast. I'm your host, Chad Shorey. Think you know what tonight's topic's going to be about? I've debated on letting this one roll for a while. It's something that I feel passionate about, feel opinionated about, and just want to talk about it. It's my personal opinion. It's not a personal attack on any one person. It's just how I feel about youth sports. And being an athlete growing up and how my parents were, how a majority of the parents were in the area, I'm very thankful and blessed that I grew up in an era that there weren't excessive amounts of travel teams, all-star teams, etc. I feel like as much as we all, as Mainers, love Cooper Flag, I feel like it has now cast this upon parents that they think that their son or daughter is going to go pro. And not that there aren't quality athletes in Maine, because there absolutely are, but a good healthy majority of them are not going to go pro. And I just think we are putting way too much emphasis on these sports and on these kids, where these kids are now taking these sports like they're a full-time job. It's very stressful. And you're seeing parents that want more out of the sport than the kids do. These kids just want to play and have fun, especially the little ones, and so many parents are so obsessed with it. And I'm not going to say a lot of them, because I don't know everyone's background and history, but some of them weren't even athletes themselves, and they're putting so much pressure on their kids to just be this next stud, and they may or may not become that. And I also think you're seeing pushback from kids these days. Elementary school, they do the school program, they do the rec department or whatever you may have in your area, AAUs, travel teams, etc. The cost is obscene. Looking for donations, sponsorships, etc. Then we migrate on to junior high. Then there's private coaching lessons. And by the time some of these kids are hitting high school, they're telling their parents, like, fuck off. I'm all set. I'm good. I just want to be a kid. Sometimes it doesn't happen until, so let's say, junior, senior year, where you can see a little bit of the pushback. Because coming up through the ranks, they might have been this next coming of whatever. But then they're so goddamn burnt out. They're like, I've had enough. I just want to see what it's like to be a kid. And I feel bad for some of these parents that are giving up a normal life with their kids and exploring, doing adventures, trips, whatever the case may be, and engaging their mind, because we're following sports so obsessively. It might be from football to basketball to baseball or whatever, just using that as an example, but it's boom, boom, boom. And unless you're a LeBron James or a Randy Moss or what's the other one? Culpepper for, North Carolina, could play two sports, high school and or college. But these were amazing, amazing athletes that went pro and probably could have gone pro in multiple sports. Um, if you're going to be really good at something, not necessarily great, but really good at something, you've got to put all your eggs in one basket, especially in these smaller demographics to really stand out, right? So then you do wind up giving up some sports that you might enjoy because, well, I got to get that scholarship for a D3 school so I can play basketball. Where does your career go after that? I feel like collectively as a whole, we're missing the mark. And instead of creating good young adults and helping them become excellent adults, parents, husbands, wives, whatever, there's so much emphasis on sports that once that's done, it's like, now what the fuck? And it's too bad. A lot of people used to use the term sports teaches discipline. And I will argue that to a fault because good parents create discipline. Good parents create good discipline so that you listen to the coach. You do as you're instructed. You don't fight the coach every step of the way, right? The coach is not there to parent your son or daughter or to create discipline if there is none. If they're not getting it at home, now all of a sudden you get this coach that's barking at you. You've never had that before. Either going to quit, cry, God only knows what. A lot of them aren't as resilient to overcome, right? Coach is yelling at me. So parent comes in, talks with the coach, blah, blah, blah. They either quit, get done, go play for a different team, whatever the case may be. Sports doesn't teach discipline. Good parenting teaches discipline. Good coaches are effective when they're getting kids that buy into the system because they have good discipline. It's okay to enjoy sports, to love sports, to cheer your son or daughter on, your relative on, etc. But when it becomes life, especially when 9 times out of 10, folks, your kid is not going to go pro. Even to go to a D1 school is a lot. Let's be real. And I just live in small town Maine. So you see a lot of athletes, let's say for instance, go to like a University Southern Maine, Husson. So we're talking D2, technical schools, etc., D3. To go to like a University of Maine, D1, it's a lot. And ultimately, let's just take basketball for instance. You go to a D1 school, the likelihood in Maine of going pro after that, it's slim to none. You might go ahead and play in the European League, which is awesome, but they're no joke, right? Like that's a pretty competitive league over there. I hate for these kids today the amount of pressure that is put on them, not from themselves, but from parents, to be great at not only one sport, but sometimes 2, sometimes 3. It's not like I see their grades, so I don't know if their grades are suffering or not. But I really feel like more emphasis should be put on what happens after graduation. Where are you going after that? Have I set you up as the adult in your life to be successful, to be better than what I have become as an adult? Not as an athlete, who cares, but as an adult. Do you have plans? Do you have thoughts what do you want to do in this world? You know, growing up, and for the longest time, you always had parents, and my parents were good. Obviously, I played sports. They were very supportive of that, but I didn't do the X amount of leagues. I did whatever the school offered and rec department programs. That was it, and for the area in my time, I did all right. Good track athlete, loved basketball. Wasn't the stud, but enjoyed basketball. Um, but they also knew that I loved playing video games. So there was a balance, right? Like I couldn't play video games for hours upon hours upon hours. They limited that, and then I was coming into the whole chat room world towards the end of high school. I want to say like sophomore, junior, senior year on dial-up internet, mind you. So yeah, if a phone call come in, you got booted off that chat. But limitations. Now you've got these kids that are literally geniuses behind a screen. And I just feel like if parents aren't paying attention to what their kids are good at and can do on a computer, on a cell phone, on a video game, and truly like look and pay attention and see what they do, see what they're capable of, you're missing out, because there is a world for them to make money even at their age now, elementary school, junior high, high school, putting themselves out there and monetizing it on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. Like, we should be celebrating them. And I'm not saying every kid needs to become a gamer or a YouTube sensation or whatever, but don't crucify them if they're very good at that. If they don't want to play sports, don't push sports on them. Watch your kid. Have them teach you what they're doing, what they're building. You know, Kim and I have been blessed. Her son Declan is an absolute genius on a video gaming system, gaming computers, cell phones. There's literally nothing that kid can't do. I feel like a genius when he runs into a snag on his computer and literally all I do is just turn it on and turn it back. Turn it off and turn it back on and save the day, you know? That kid is lights out when it comes to that. He is now going into the 7th grade and has just decided to start playing soccer, which, hey, that's wonderful. Good for you, dude. You know, hope that he enjoys it. Hope that he has fun with it. But there's never going to be this crazy amount of pressure. He has a YouTube channel, has followers, you know, showing the games that he creates and stuff like that, and think that's wonderful. It took a while, and even Kim didn't want to fully embrace it until I showed her. He was playing rec basketball a few years ago. You could tell the kid was not enjoying it. He wasn't having fun. At the time, he wasn't necessarily good at it. Like, what are we doing here? Like, we're pushing this kid to play the sport that he could care less about. But you get him on a VR headset or something, and he's creating his own games. Like, wow. This kid has the trajectory, if he stays on this path, of writing his own paycheck, you know, which is pretty damn cool. I just wish that more parents would open their eyes. And again, if you take offense to this, I'm sorry. It's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it, but it's not means to like fight over or argue with. It's just things that I notice, that I see, things that I've dealt with in my own life and past. But just really open up your eyes and see what your kid is capable of outside of sports, you know, and make sure that you're talking to them and having thoughts about like what's after school, what's coming after that. Do you have some thoughts just to feed off of, or things that you can help them out with now? You know, do they need to get a YouTube channel set up? Do they need to get a TikTok set up? I know so many people are against it because, oh my God, but about the time that your kid has the opportunity to make bank because they're really good at something, yeah, follow up on that. Getting back on the sports topic, I had this discussion about in one of my last couple of episodes about small town living with my lifelong friend Carson, who after our freshman year, he went to a private school for sophomore, junior, senior year. He enjoyed hockey. There wasn't a hockey program around here. I think he also played baseball down there. He was a stud in hockey up here. He could have played for some of the localish high school teams if he wanted, and he would have been good on those teams. Went down there, and I think, if my memory serves me right, he struggled a little bit, and I think he was like second, third line. Whereas up here, he was the dude. Up here, he was the dude at baseball. Like, he probably still could have gone somewhere after high school with just his baseball career alone in high school. So I had the discussion with him. I said, if you had it to do all over again, would you have done the private school program? And he really kind of hemmed and hawed about it because he knows that he was a very smart kid. He probably would have gone top 3 in our graduating class, so probably would have had the opportunity to get a full ride scholastically to a D1 school, probably UMaine or whatever he wanted, but also could have gone somewhere off his baseball career had he wanted. Maybe D3, maybe D2, I don't know. But not only did I as his friend, but his parents missed out on 3 years of his high school, which are detrimental years, growing up with your friends, with your family, etc. You're down in a whole other state, growing up with other kids. I can't even imagine the things that he went through from time to time, emotional roller coasters, with how we are with puberty and hormones and this and that and young girls and other guys and just crazy, right? I selfishly wish that he would have stayed because, my best friend at the time, who knows what our friendship would have looked like going through all those years, But I do hope that eventually we can get a grasp on some of these youth sports because I just feel like it's gotten out of hand. Such young ages, but then so many other layers. Rec teams, all-star teams, travel teams. The economy is hard enough as it is right now. All these expenses thrown into it. Sure, your kid might enjoy it, and that's wonderful, and I hope they do. But if you find yourself being the one pushing them, and they're kind of fighting you the whole way, they don't want to get up for that early game or early practice, and man, it's okay to enjoy your kid. Enjoy their youth. Enjoy them growing up. Enjoy experiences. It'd be awful to think that you miss out on 18 years, just for instance, of potential experiences when it was all spent chasing a ball diamond, a basketball court, a hockey rink, whatever the case may be. I don't hate sports, clearly. I love sports. I love them. I'm a huge fan of our MA Lynx basketball team. I love those kids. The coach is wonderful. They give me nothing but excitement. But I also hope that each one of these boys, upon graduation, has a great life after high school basketball. Because after the lights go out and there's no one cheering in the stands, what's next for you guys? Where do you see yourself going? I hope that they've got a good catalyst to help them through that. And I don't know if the guidance counselors are doing a good job. I know they weren't doing a good job when I was coming up through. Shit. Throw a dart at the board. You want to go here? Yeah, cool. I hope that they're working with the kids today, because these kids are intelligent kids. Contrary to what the world wants to mask them as, these kids are growing up in a very fast-paced life. They're growing up in an expensive economy. When they graduate, how are they going to afford XYZ? So if they're good at something behind a screen, allow them to make that money that might help them moving forward. Just my 2 cents. Take it as you will. It's nothing personal. It's just my thoughts. It's just how I feel. Again, love sports. Love to cheer on kids. But don't make it your life into their life. So, if you're someone that is chasing success rather than excuses, hit the subscribe, share the show, and have a wonderful night, my friends.